Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the third season of webinars of the Portuguese Association of Corporate Communication, where we discussed current issues, challenges, or trends that may impact our profession of communicators. I must begin by thanking you and all the guests who are with us today for their kind availability to join us. My name is Lúcia Cavaleiro. I'm a communications and digital manager of Tabaqueira, the Portuguese Philip Morris International Affiliated, and board member of APCE, Portuguese Association of Corporate Communication, and I'll be hosting this webinar today. And together with us to discuss this year communication trends, we have Ántonio Rapoula, expert in the area of mobility, APCE Vice President, and member of the European Regional Council of the Global Alliance for Public Relations and Communication Management. Welcome. Bonnie Kever, past chairperson of the global boards of, I'm sorry, I'm lost here, of Global Board of Directors of International Association of Business Communicators. This was the long name, that's why I was not remembering. Sorry, welcome, Bonnie. And Bonnie is also founder and CEO of Reputation Lighthouse. Welcome. Marlene Gaspar, CEO of Llorente Cuenca for Portugal, with a lifetime experience in multinational advertising agencies. Welcome, Marlene. And Silvia, Global Head of Functions, Communications and Technology and Operational Performance of BNP Paribas in Paris, and also chairperson of the European Regional Council of the Global Alliance for Public Relations and Communication Management. Welcome all. Hello. This session is being recorded for foster sharing APC social media. The webinar will take approximately 45 minutes, maximum 1 hour. And everyone here can ask questions to our speakers in the question and answers area that you can find in the bottom bar of the Zoom menu. I'll try to address each one of them to the proper speaker, but I invite all the speakers when possible and if possible to check the Q&A area and provide some info to our attendees. Having made these disclaimers and the appropriate introductions, we will now hear from our guests about some of the main trends in communication and our challenges on and how to work on them. Let's start by the remarkable evolution in the perception of the term sustainability, both by companies and consumers following global trends. This evolution has been greatly driven not only by people's increasing awareness, concerns, and choices, but also by organizations' recognition of the importance of integrating sustainability into its operations and communication. This is pointed out as a major trend in the context of shared value sustainability as an opportunity to reorient the business towards something that leaves a long-term positive contribution to society. Silvia, are we facing a huge opportunity, but also a big challenge to work the sustainability topic?
Thank you very much, first of all, for inviting me to this webinar and this discussion. And yes, of course, sustainability is a big challenge. It's a big concern, actually. We think about the climate change. We cannot deny, the that have raised. We face extreme weather conditions. This week, 62 degrees in Brazil is one of the consequences. It's like a crazy thing. So, big challenge for us, but also an opportunity because companies have a role to play on sustainability, on doing good for the environment, for fighting climate change. And it's not only a question of governments, okay? This is very important. It offers the chance for companies, for organizations to innovate, to create more efficient, equitable, and environmental friendly services and products. And there is also opportunity for growth, for innovation, and for long-term benefits. What is important is that all the innovations and services that organizations can contribute for this opportunity of sustainability is that it must be embedded into the business. It must be a reality for organizations to provide proofs, concrete actions of the commitment. It's not only words, it's very important. And this is what is going to contribute to the business reputation. Because the preference choice of clients, of employees to join a company is not the commitment of the companies. This is very important, and it must be really a reality for reputation. And reputation is business. So the role of communications is key on this, is to highlight these concrete actions that show the commitment of the companies for positive impact. Okay, it's not about greenwashing; it's about giving proofs, and this is the role of professional communications. And it's not only sustainability in terms of an environment; it's also in terms of good for society, in terms of trust and credibility. And this is why the Global Alliance for Public Relations and Communications Management has made an open call to the profession to add a new goal to the sustainable development, sustainable development to the United Nations. But I think that we are going to speak about this. But it's very important to really keep this trust and reputation for the companies.
What I can take away from your answer, Silvia, is that integration can also be considered a key trend identified as a tool to the complex socio-economic and technological challenges of 2024 that you just mentioned. Marlene, how can this trend in practice serve to improve or help the work done by communication and public relations professionals?
Well, thank you also for the invitation and for being here. Just to repeat or to enhance what Silvia said, the reputation is a business. And I think this is quite important because also sustainability and this integration could achieve more professions results, because the integration will highlight our work of communication. And as professional public relations, we could have more tools to that. Because also in sustainability, we assist a little bit of exhausting of the consumer, because he's worried with the definition, the goals that we have, and if we have achieved, and if our attitudes make the difference. So how can communication would help in this? We can have an holistic approach because instead of thinking about silos, we can ensure the consistency to maximize the impact of our actions and also use the different tools that we have. As also professionals of communication, we have tools that we never had, and we are embracing also Gen Z generation that is more prepared, technically speaking, because they also have to invest in other kind of skills, but technically they are the most prepared era, and they could help us to do that change, to change that mindset, to do an holistic approach. We also can have a data decision making, and this is a huge difference in this integration because we are in an uncertain context. We also talk about VUCA context, and we already know what it is. If we didn't know, I think the actuality since the pandemic times, everybody knows what it is. And we have data to assure us and to give a little bit certain in this context because we can have insights, informed decisions, and then we can design tailor-made communication strategy with consistent because it's very important. And once again, how we can enhance the brand reputation. As we said before, reputation is a business, and communication is a tool that helps to make your strong brand reputation, and ensuring that the messages are aligned across the different channels, because this is a huge investment that we do, and we have to speak accordingly with the platforms that we are, and also to have the trust and the credibility among our stakeholders. And I think that not least the agility. We need to be more agile. And I know that it's sometimes it's difficult because we have to change our habits all the time. And I think the technology proves that. And we know that it's not only a buzzword or a hypo as we had the metaverso. EI or AI in this case, it changed our lives. It's already doing that, and we have an insight that 60% of the consumers are excited about AI development, but on the other hand, 71% believe that this advancing is so alarming. So how we can manage this two kind of people? I think we all have a little bit of the twists. And we have some time. Of course, we need to regulate this, but it's a wonderful tool, and we need to use it to do this integration that you were speaking about, a trend. And of course, I think this will empower the communication. And we have a technical, it's a senior director in Llorente Cuenca, Madrid, and he's saying all the time that AI will take you better if you are a good professional, but if you are mediocre, you will be more mediocre. So you need to know and learn how to work with technology to help you work in this environment, to embrace the integration. And we are much more prepared for that, of course, because the world is so accelerating. But it's magical, because I think communication, you cannot do what you did before. It will not work. So it's amazing.
Yes, so we actually are living in that VUCA mode that you mentioned, Marlene. It's a constant changing and fast-paced world that we are having to deal every day now. And it will be, in fact, difficult to escape the omnipresence of artificial intelligence, AI, in our lives and in our professional life as well. And specifically, as comms persons, namely its new tools, as you mentioned, its fusion with human creativity, as you also mentioned, and data-driven insights. The fields of communication and public relations are effectively entering a new era in which success will have to combine, as you were saying, analyzing, understanding, influencing, and adapting to the constantly evolving landscape. Bonnie, luckily you are with us, and I believe that you have some interesting infos to share with us on how will the integration of ethical and responsible AI guiding principles into the Global Alliance framework enhance ethical leadership in the use of artificial intelligence in public relations and communication management.
Again, thank you for having me. I'm representing, I guess, North America today. So I'm very happy to be with you. I wish I could be with you locally. So, in preparation for writing the Global Alliance's ethical and responsible AI guiding principles, we did a global survey to the Global Alliance members. And what we found is that communication and PR professionals and the agencies they work for and the associations that support them are very focused right now on the tools, the AI tools. They're trying to figure out how AI is going to impact our workflow, our workload, and our jobs. And that's very understandable, because I just was in a presentation where someone was talking about, the mecca of innovation in the United States is Silicon Valley, and there are 1,000 new AI tools being created in Silicon Valley every month. So that's just in the US. If you think about the innovation meccas around the world, how many AI tools are being created? So this is kind of for those of us that dealt with when social media became part of our lives, and the MySpaces of the world, how many of those are still around? So that same thing is we're going to be learning at the same time that some of the technologies are going to be changing. A technology I use, Pi, is something that I use all the time. Well, 70 of their employees have just gone to Google. So will Pi go away? Will that become, gone to Microsoft, I think, but will that become part of Microsoft's? So we've got a lot of changes that are going to be happening, but we're very focused on the tools, which means we're not necessarily focused on the governance, and we're not focused on the ethics around it. And just because AI can doesn't mean that AI should. And that's a big thing. For instance, there's a tool that allows us to look at Zoom and look at all of you out there and see if you're paying attention to me. And are you understanding what I'm saying? Because I'm talking Southern English, and I might not be very understandable. So as a presenter, that could be very good information for me to understand how I can be better as a presenter. However, there's a privacy issue. Did I ask your approval for doing that? If I was using it as an employer and making performance decisions based on whether you were paying attention from a remote work conversation. So there's a lot of things that are ethical around that tool, but some things that could be that we might not use it in quite as an ethical way. So we have to be very cognizant of that. And as PR and comms professionals, we have the opportunity to lead because we have ethical standards in our profession. We're already living through this is the way we do work. So we have this opportunity to build the trust, and trust is very important. Although there is a lot of, belief in AI and that AI is going to be good for us as a society, it's actually the trust has declined over the last 5 years. And so in order for us to trust AI, it must be trustworthy. And that means that it must be transparent in how we build the tools, how we process, what the algorithms are. And that's all about communication professionals being able to communicate that and to guide our organizations through that. So we've created, just to kind of let you guys know, and I hope you'll go to the Global Alliances framework, but ethical rigor, human oversight and governance, personal and organizational responsibility, openness and transparency, professional development, and advocacy are the 6 principles that we have put forward and that we feel like go along with local laws and local organizational guidelines. But those are kind of the guiding principles that will help us not only put those guardrails around AI in our own profession, but help us step forward with our organizations and say, this is how we will build this brand, we'll build this reputation, because as it's been said, reputation is business. I always say reputation is currency.
On top of all that you mentioned, we are also dealing with new ways of working and new professionals arriving to the markets. Ántonio, given the issues of home working and the new generations of communicators, how do you foresee the integration of the guiding principles of ethical and responsible AI, influencing remote working practices and shaping the skill set of emerging communication professionals?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question, and it's a pleasure to be with such an amazing speakers here today. Well, there's a Portuguese say that in translating to English is something like forecast just at the end of the match. So we are at a stage of home working that is difficult because companies are adjusting now for home working. I think that during the pandemic, it proves that it can work because every company, everyone has to adapt to home working. All the tools were already there, so it's something that has been said already here today that we can provide the tools. AI is a tool that we can use. Zoom is a tool that we are using and we can use. All the tools were there before the pandemic period, and the pandemic just made an immediate approach for those tools and the use of those tools. People and companies are adjusting now over this period. Most of them are at a kind of hybrid type of work. So let's see what will happen on the next months, on the next years. I would say that the hybrids will stay. Companies will have the benefits of some home working. People is having also the benefits of home working. So it will stay. As you said, Lúcia, the younger generations are already used to that kind of work. So it has to remain wherever it will be possible. We are here at an example of that. Some years ago, it will be impossible to have Bonnie and Silvia with us on this kind of things. It will be impossible to have a webinar that is broadcasting to all over the world. So these tools are good and they are here to stay, and we are going to use it. I think that the key issue here with the home working, and it will be different from business to business, is the productivity issue. Sometimes when I'm alone, I know that I can work more because I'm more attentive. I can concentrate me better to the issues. But we know that when we are talking to each other, when we address with other people the problems that we have, we can have better solutions, and that is something that the home working doesn't fulfill so well. So it's a mixture of things. I would say definitely that home working is to stay. Yeah, it is here to stay. From companies' perspectives, differing from business to business, it could be more hybrid or less hybrid.
That led us, Ántonio, thank you so much, to another topic that can also be considered a trend, like the importance of humanization and empathy, and that need of contact that homework sometimes doesn't allow, and that to which organization had to adapt in order to maintain its productivity. Silvia, back to you. How can strategic communicators leverage relationships and networks to navigate these disruptive times and drive change in 2024?
Yes, I totally agree with Ántonio, what he said. I mean, collective work and networking is a great tool. I mean, to drive change in difficult times. Relationships and networks are essential, and I would like to focus on the fact that we need also to be open. I mean, relationships and networks in the company are essential, but also outside the company. And one way to do so is through professional associations, which allowed networking, contacts, learning from each other. And this is all about Global Alliance for Public Relations and Communications Management, but also APCE, which mission is defend the profession, which is more and more open and international than ever. We can see that we have crises which are I mean, global ones. COVID crisis it's a worldwide crisis. Social media. With social media, I mean, when you do something locally, you know that everybody's going to know it, particularly in terms of reputation. So it's very important that we can provide this association added value in terms of knowledge, innovation, looking ahead to the members, but with this global focus, because we are global. I mean, this is for sure. And this is through best practice sharing, through networking. And I would like to give an example, which is the summit, the European Communication Summit we organized last week. Ántonio was there, and we saw the great benefits, because it was an excellent opportunity to network with high-level communications professionals from all Europe, share best practices, and address the trends and challenges impacting our profession. So the fact of being together, the fact of network, outside also our company, the trends and all the concerns that are impacting our profession individually. We spoke about artificial intelligence, which is a key trend, which makes us more efficient, but we need to master the tools, we need to master the ethics side of this new innovation. We spoke also about polarization of society with social media, how we can understand what's happening today due to the social media development, environmental and ethical and economical issues, political and geopolitical tensions. So there is polarization of society in a lot of countries in Europe, and we need to know what's happening in order to see what we can do together to address that. I remember Ántonio and Ricardo Carvalho presented a very, very interesting communication strategy who turned a global challenge into a local opportunity with velocity. So this is not something that inspires us, and we learn from others how to put reputation in the midst of business. It was a key to success shared by L'Oréal. We presented also innovative campaigns, time to market campaigns in Czech Republic and in Lithuania. And something what was very important is the European strategy to fight disinformation and all related to legal frameworks, media literacy, research, and so on. What is important is and this is a key takeaway, is that we are communications professionals, that we are change makers, and we have the power to change the world with our actions, with communications actors. And we can turn challenges into opportunities, and opportunities for positive change, which is very important.
That led us to the enthusiastic generation with the new tools and all these challenges that Marlene just mentioned. Marlene, what dynamic skill sets will strategic communicators need to navigate the evolving communication landscape, including proficiency in data analytics and emerging technologies during 2024?
Well, I think before we go to more the techniques or the new tools for 2024, I think I always defend the golden triangle that we should have in mind as communicators, is much the empathy by default. And I think the empathy is much more needed when we are working with technology. And because also if we ask ChatGPT the difference between the machine and we, that we are humans, you say that he has no empathy. So empathy, I think it's what makes the distinction that we have. Of course, we have other skills. We are much prettier than the ChatGPT also, but we need to understand that empathy by default is very important and implies to face these times new challenges and speak and approach and abort some questions or some issues that we all the time learn to make a little more not upfront, such as our emotions. For instance, we need to understand that if someone have fear and anxiety, and the emotional drivers to know how to communicate in this new era. And also, because we also have a study that defends the consumer are in charge, but he has a lot of issues that he want to solve, and they want that the communication understand their emotions, their needs, their anxieties, their fears. And so I put first this emotional drives as the dynamic skill sets. And the other ingredient, I think it's quite important as empathy, is also the creativity. And I know ChatGPT already has creative insights, and it is amazing. Sometimes it surprises us, but creativity is in everything that we do. And sometimes we put creativity very connected with the advertising or the communication in the social media. But we need to have this present also to decide the best angle for a headline, for a new, and this is quite important. So I put in the top of the pyramid, I think the empathy and also the creativity. But of course, as you said and you mentioned in your question, Lúcia, proficiency in data analytics, we need to understand the metrics, because sometimes for years we said we don't have enough data. Now we have huge data, and we don't know how to select the best data to decide the information. So we are spending we don't have this, now we have so much of this, and what is the information that I need to decide and to design the strategic decisions that we have to do. So we need also to understand the metrics and also to define the important ones, or what we want to look in more detail. And we need to prepare our people, the youngest, the oldest, everyone needs to understand how to have this proficiency in data analytics, but we need to embrace them, because we need to do this data-driven decision. And of course, the technology, or we already, all of we speak about that, and we need to understand the leverage of these technologies, embrace. Of course, we will not be all of us experts on that, but sometimes when I'm working, we have a lot of younger people here working with us, and sometimes I think they are more afraid to use the technology than me, that I'm older one, and I think, I'm not so digital, I don't like this, and my kids already teach me everything about this. But we need to embrace this, because we will be as better professionals. And another ingredient that is quite important, I already speak about that, but it's the agility. We need to be very agile to understand the consumers, to understand our stakeholders, and that's important, because we need to do strategic thinking. We need to plan, and the strategic conducting with messages that we know and we need to understand, and to make the efforts of communication are all aligned to be and to have the reputation as a currency, as a key thing, that the drive that we want to achieve. And of course, we need to be cross-functional. We need to collaborate with several stakeholders, different eras. We didn't have a range so huge as the Gen Z and the boomers, with such a different experience and backpacks that we need to achieve. So I think this is the main. But if I need to put some of them first, we already have it from years. So I highlight the empathy by default, creativity, technology as the golden triangle, and of course using all these tools to make our work. And fail fast, because we need to try and to move on. It's also a difference because we did a campaign, then we have 6 months later the results. Now we have in real time, so fail fast to adapt and adjust, not to change your strategy, but to adapt and to see how the results will be better in real time.
Yeah, the importance of failing, but each day in a different thing, different fail.
Yes, not fail all the time, of course. Fail fast, but not fail all the time.
We tackled here an important issue also, which is disinformation. So, Bonnie, as the tension between true and lies grows, how can communication and PR practitioners uphold ethical standards and contribute to building trust in their profession?
Well, I think we have to be the conscious of our organizations, and we have these ethical standards that we have to abide by, and we have to apply them to new thinking. So ethical standards for the way we've always done business is a little easier than things that might be gray. But also, what I also see is we're in a time period of a little bit of chaos as media outlets and brands begin to try to figure out these new rules, and they take these special precautions to keep away fake news. For instance, we've just seen that with the Kate Middleton situation with the picture. And that takes us into, what is the difference between photo manipulation and photo touch-up, for instance. The Associated Press has said, we will not take a photo that has been touched up. Well, my CEOs have wanted to have their pictures touched up forever. I mean, how many of us don't? Take a little, lighting, and can I take a little of the lines around my face just off just a little bit or whatever. Photoshop's been around for a long time. So what's the future of Photoshop? Because we're now at such an area of broad context as we're trying to figure this fake news situation out. And was it created with AI, et cetera? What I think is going to happen is context and consistency are going to be more important than they've ever been before. And how we communicate, not only ethically and how we represent our brands, but how we do it with proper context and consistency. When you're inconsistent, or when you're not transparent, or when you're out of context, that's going to raise the meter that says this could be fake news. So I think that's some big important things that we have to consider is around those standards, not only the ethical standards, but are we consistent in how we're communicating? Are we communicating in context? And are we appropriately representing our brand through transparency?
How mobility, Ántonio, and remote work are consolidating in this post-pandemic period that really changed the way we communicate and that emerged all these trends that we are mentioning today. What changes have you seen?
Well, it will depend from city to city, from one location to another location. But here in Lisbon, where I'm based, you can see that traffic has downgraded since we have home working. So it is something that is not only for the companies, but it's also good for cities and the environment, because as people stay at home, the cities and will benefit from that. Traffic will be reduced. The stress from being driving and so on, it will be reduced. So people will be, at least in theory, more relaxed than going to work. So it is something that cities are, or as I mentioned before, cities are adapting, are studying that. We know that, as Marlene said, we have data in real time, but sometimes it takes us time to realize and to understand that kind of data, especially when we are dealing with massive quantities of people, massive quantities of traffic, for instance. So let's see what it leads. But I would say that in the future, this mobility, this agility, this home working will have a positive effect on the traffic in cities and on the living of cities and the quality of life of people. I think that beyond everything that we are saying here is the improvement of quality of life quality for people. So it will be the number one benefit. As something that was mentioned on APCE last webinar, the home working, this kind of mobility, this remote kind of work will have impacts on communication also. So internal communication, it will be a challenge for internal communication. Companies that have a large number of employees working remotely or working at different locations will have to adapt from that. Sometimes it was only different locations in the world. Now adding a new layer that's from having people home working from different locations in the world. So it will be a new mix that especially, and we have two good examples here that Marlene and Silvia that have to deal with that, with LYCC and with BNP Paribas, that many people working around the world and they have to communicate and especially having the effect of belonging to the company. I think that the thing that we can lose the most with home working is the sense of belonging to the company.
Thank you, Ántonio.
Just adding to that, and something that has been said before, just share a thought that technology and once more here on what I've said, technology is only useful when it serves people. So we can have a lot of technology, we can have a lot of AI, we can have a lot of tools like that, but they are only useful when it serves people. I was looking here at some questions that the audience has made to us, and I recall we can have an amazing AI that already exists to play football, like the PlayStation, but no one will substitute a PlayStation match from a real football match. So when it comes to creativity, when it comes to emotions, we'll always get to the real and not to the AI. It will be the same, for instance, when we are comparing tools like self-driving. We can have amazing self-driving to drive through the cities, but no one will always, at least as I see it, will substitute a Formula One race for a self-driving Formula One race. It doesn't make sense because all the emotions, all the unpredictability from the humans are always necessary as part of some business.
We are approaching, unfortunately, our time. This is a challenge for all of you. It's more like a yes or no answer. Last week in Madrid, during the Global Alliance's European Regional Council meeting, Alistair McCapra, who has spoken for the APCE members twice, told that the PR agencies are using AI in their day-to-day business, as we just mentioned also here today, and their clients know that. So everyone is asking for faster strategies and cheapest ones. Do you agree with that? Is that the way we are heading to?
Sure. AI, we spoke about it, has a huge impact in our daily job and strategies, and it can be positive and negative. It can make us more performant, more efficient, more intelligent in terms of speeches, articles, video. We have ChatGPT, we have Copilot, Dale, Midjourney. So it can make us a professional, more augmented professional, or it can make us more mediocre, as it was mentioned. Well, one thing which is very important is that be aware that it's not accurate, that there are bias, privacy, there are problems of privacy and security. And we need awareness, we need education, we need training as particular human brain, okay? Of course, we want for faster and easier campaigns, and this is very good, and we can have that with artificial intelligence, and we are using that. But what is important, I think, is what we need transparency in terms of pricing, transparency in terms of regulation, all about copyrights, for example. So when you are producing a campaign, is a creative person who has done it, or is an artificial intelligence? So what is the price with that? And must be transparency is key.
Any other thought about this topic, Bonnie?
Yeah, one of the things that I'm looking at is if you're looking at AI across the board, we can all look very much the same. What changes AI is the information it's fed. And that's someone's strategic knowledge. That is information about stakeholders. So that's still proprietary information that's being fed into a strategy. If you want a strategy like everyone else and you want to look like everyone else, then you can get that. But we've been moving to the blue ocean strategy for a very long time, and AI is not going to get that for you alone. It's what the strategy and the knowledge that's fed into that about your stakeholders, about your organization. So the things that we have always done as strategic communicators and public relations professionals is going to be equally important. We just have new tools to help us do it. And so to the point of mediocre versus excellence, you're going to still pay. And I think there's going to be a period of time where we're going to have to train our clients and our brands, and we're going to learn from each other that, cheap is cheap.
Does anyone wants to add any comment to the question that we have on the chat of one of our attendants on this webinar today?
Let me see. Just to add to what Bonnie said, I think if you want, we say if you want if you play pinners, you get monkeys, and I think it's important to enhance what Bonnie said. Of course, we cannot deliver a faster strategy because you don't put a strategy or you don't have a prompt in ChatGPT, and it could make a design of a strategy, but you cannot trust in that strategy, and I think it will not steal our jobs because the efficiency doesn't rob your what you have to do. So I don't agree with the cheaper. Maybe we have more efficiency, and maybe we can deliver better results as we had tools that we had before, and change the way of doing things. But this is not a miracle solution. And if you use only that, as we said in here, you look the same. So I don't think our jobs but I also agree that transparency it's important because it helps, but it's not all the solution. And I think we have several years here to do strategies with this. Just to add to this yes or no question. So definitely, I think no. And to the Q&A. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't read the answers, the questions. So,
okay. So while you check that, Marlene, Ántonio, do you want to add any remark on this question?
Just to emphasize what has been said. I think AI is another tool. It's a more complex tool by sure. So it will need more complex answers like transparency, like ethics, like how we can write properties and so on. So it will be, but at the end of the day, it's a tool that we should learn how to use it and how to use it properly. I was trying to simplify maybe to too much, but it's like an Excel spreadsheet. It helps us with the figures, but it doesn't give us the right answer. So we can use ChatGPT, we can use other AI tools, but at the end, as far as communication professional, I think that it should be a human to understand, to underline the key topics, the strategy, everything that will be behind that. But by the way, for a press release, it can help us. Of course, it can. But the strategy is for humans, and I believe that it can be a good tool, but always led by humans. Maybe I'm being too romantic, but it's how I say things.
It's also needed in our professional lives. I will now challenge you as communicators. We have now 2 minutes. So I will really ask you to leave us and to share with us some food for thought, flagging briefly in one word, 2 things: an emerging trend to consider as an opportunity, and a trend that may bring some risk to the work of communicators and is therefore worthy of attention. I'll start by Silvia.
Sure. Of course, an opportunity very quickly. We spoke about it, sustainable, huge opportunity ahead us. And as a communications professional, we can address this individually in our organization, but also collectively to contribute for a better future. And in terms of concern, I will say everything regarding deep fakes, fake news with AI. I mean, it can destroy reputation. It is very important in terms of, how we can, in a very quickly manner, we can have a video from our, I don't know, general management saying something which is completely fake. So we need to know these techniques, like the astroturfing in the States, how you can, influence public opinion without nothing behind. So we need education, we need training, we need to be aware of this technique, and we need act with integrity. This is very important. So to me, it's one of the risks.
Okay, an emerging trend. I don't think it's only emerging, but I think the voice, everything connected with the voice and the podcasts that have a huge increase, and the radio became the new television platform. And I think it's quite important because the convenience is amazing. When we talk about second screen, it was multitasking, and we are connected or disconnected because we are not pay attention enough pay attention. And now you can drive, you can cook, you can do a lot of things when you are listening podcasts. And as we said in Portuguese, I don't know if this sounds good in English, but it's like music, like podcasts for my ears. It's like music for my ears. And I think it's an amazing trend. About the risks, and I think we should analyze the risks and the opportunities, also the both sides, the concern for sustainability. And I think it's a huge opportunity, but also have some risks, because the exhaustion of having to make endless moral decisions, and sometimes we change our behavior to be more sustainable, but we don't see the results, and that makes the consumer a little bit tired. I don't know if I really make the difference, and I think maybe this is a concern, and I totally agree also with the fake and the lack of transparency as also a risk. But just to say something different, I put this two in front of the table.
Bonnie.
I think on both sides, it's the revolutionary change that we're dealing with. Every single day, we're dealing with things where the environment is making our organizations change, where the individuals must change, where we have learning, where we have need for human oversight. So there is both an opportunity and a risk in change management, and our opportunities to lead change management, and the challenges with organizations when they don't accept change and put it strategically forward.
Ántonio?
I will go back to people, and I will say that the risk, the trend will be the same as the opportunity or a challenge. That is how we can address and we can onboard on our companies the younger generations. I think that we should rely always on people, as I said before, and that will be for me it will be the challenge for the next years. Is how I can address and how I can invite and how I can onboard the young people on our generation, because perspectives are very different. They, as I said before, they count on working. They even may not count on working on a company. So things are changing a lot on that perspective. I don't know what my kids will do in the future. It's something that is quite different from when I was a young boy, and my parents will expect something for my career, and I cannot expect the same for my kids. So I would think that the biggest trend, the biggest challenge that we have in the next years is how we can include people in all of this that we have been talking here for the last 1 hour.
Unfortunately, our time has come to an end, and surely there would be other issues for us to discuss. Even any trend pointed out here in this webinar today would be for itself one topic for a specific webinar. So we will think about that. Even I couldn't address all the questions that we have from the people that are with us in this webinar, but they will all be answered. Thank you very much once again for your availability and for all that you shared here today. And that is what really motivates us to carry out these sessions. And thank you to everyone that joined online this webinar. We will continue to talk about other topics, so keep following APCE on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and the podcast of Excellence in Communication, podcast da Excelência em Comunicação. Pardon for my Portuguese, but I'll get it for the name, the original name, that you can easily find on iTunes, Spotify, or Google Podcasts. Thank you so much once again, and look forward